Hello, my dear students. Your query is the most prominent, no doubt. Of course, your queries are pleasurable and appreciable. But you should be cautious in regard that how to explain and justify this particular theory, which is termed as classical theory of interest rate determination. The interest rate determination is done by the classical theory. This classical theory has been developed by the different economists, namely Professor Marshall, Irving Fisher, etc., who have contributed significantly to develop the classical theory of interest rate determination. How do you determine the rate of interest? With the use of the classical theory. So now you will surely find the important contents in this regard. So now firstly I want to suggest to all, under this theory it has been suggested that the amount of savings goes on rising on account of increasing rate of interest. The savings is considered as the supply source through which the fund or the loans are supplied to the needy candidates, to the investors, producers. The supply of the loan is also done to the consumers. But here, under this theory, it has been suggested that the saving is the source through which the loans is supplied, which is based on the rate of interest. If the rate of interest goes on rising in the market, which type of market? Under the money market. If the rate of interest is going on rising means increasing in the in the money market, so then obviously the supply of money as a whole would also go on rising. So then obviously here, because the supplier of the loans will surely get opportunity to enjoy the greater amount of interest. So the supplier is motivated on account of increasing rate of interest. So now on one hand we are getting the supply is going on increasing along with the increase in rate of interest. The savings are going on increasing on account of increase in rate of interest. In other words, you can say at the increasing rate of interest, the savings goes on rising and vice versa. In this way, we find the positive relationship between the rate of interest and amount of savings. Then obviously fact, the savings curve will be positively sloped, which is showing the positive relationship between the rate of interest and amount of savings. The savings goes on rising at the increasing rate of interest and vice versa. Therefore, the savings curve remains positively sloped. In other words, you can say goes upward from left to right. But on the other hand, the demand of loan is done by the needy person, just like investors, producers, for making investment. So then here it has been suggested the investment goes on increasing at the decrease in rate of interest. If the rate of interest is going on declining in the money market, then investors, producers would be motivated to make the borrowings more and more. So here we find the negative relationship between rate of interest and investment. Because the investment is going on decreasing at the increase in rate of interest and vice versa. That is to say, obviously fact, the investment goes on increasing or rising on account of decrease in rate of interest. So then this curve, investment curve, would be negatively sloped. Goes downward from left to right, which is showing the negative relationship between rate of interest and amount of investment. So now, how do you find the equilibrium and how do you decide the rate of interest? So wherever the investment and savings both go to be equal each other, we find the rate of interest at that intersection point, or equality between interest and savings. So what is the condition? Interest rate is determined where the savings go to be equal as investment. Now wherever the savings curve and investment curve both go to intersect each other, we find the equality between the investment and savings. So how do you determine the rate of interest? We easily consider with the help of this related diagram. So now we have many tricks. Now currently we are going to study the classical theory. Interest rate determination. Classical theory of interest rate determination. So we have already told you, developed by Irving Fisher and Marshall. Now here we have many tricks that show the amount of savings and investment. On the horizontal line, and rate of interest on the vertical line. Then after we have already told you the investment curve go downward from left to right and negatively slope, just like it is the investment. It is showing the inverse relationship between the rate of interest and investment. We have earlier told you all. On the other hand, savings curve. The savings curve is indicating the positive relationship between rate of interest and amount of savings, because the savings amounts are going on increasing along with the increase in rate of interest and vice versa. So now here, what is the condition to get the equilibrium under the money market? Equality should be equal. Savings should be equal to investment here. Where you find? Basically, it is being found here at this intersection point, at the point E, because here savings are equal to investment. This condition been fulfilled here at this intersection point. So now equilibrium has been derived here under the money market. But now here, what is the determined rate of interest? In order to get the rate of interest, I have to draw the vertical line and break it. So now here rate of interest is R. And what is the amount of savings or investment? So in order to get the amount of savings or investment, we have to draw the vertical line on x-axis. We find the OM should be considered as the amounts of savings or investment, because both of them are mutually equal to each other at this equilibrium. So say OM is the amount of savings or investment, because both of them are mutually equal to each other at the equilibrium point E, where the rate of interest has been determined as R. So now question has been solved. The rate of interest determined is R, which is termed as, normally you have considered normally is termed as a percentage form. So now here rate of interest determined at the equilibrium, that is R, and amount of savings or investment is OM. In this way, we have this defined determine the rate of interest under the classical theory, which are developed by Marshall and Irving Fisher. So obviously developed by Marshall and Irving Fisher. So sometimes the question MCQ pattern, as the MCQ pattern based, the question being raised that by whom it was developed, then you will take the correct option, Irving Fisher and Marshall, right, who have contributed significantly. If you have any other query, you can raise.